Come, let us explore the correlation of jazz and the Force. Recall, if you will, the first reel of Rise of Skywalker. Our friend Rey is levitating in the meditation position upon the planet Ajan-Klas. And her plaintive cry, her repeated cry to the Jedi who have gone before her is, "Be with me." And she seems rather frustrated. It seems to be ineffective. And in all honesty, it reminds me of a man with erectile dysfunction screaming at his flaccid penis. It's not going to get the job done. I once had my late pal, Alan. One day, he found his wife screaming at the cat in an attempt to coerce the cat to stop hiding under the couch. The cat wasn't having any of it. So he convinced his wife to chill out in the other room. And then he theatrically left the room, went into the kitchen, opened up a can of tuna, and lo and behold, the cat of its own accord left its hiding place under the couch and came into the kitchen. And that is an excellent example of not forcing, but allowing. Often we try to force the Force in our own lives. If not literally, then metaphorically. We try to force spontaneity or force the flow, for want of a better term. So how can we set space? Well, we can learn a lot from jazz. One of the great ironies is that jazz, as you know, or at least classic jazz, featured spontaneity. But the root of spontaneity, oddly enough, is contrivance. One of my many teachers once was a musician, and she hosted a traveling jazz band. And he would sleep in late, and once he woke up, he would spend the day just doing scales. When it was time for him to go to the club at night, he would play the set and then perform this wild improvisation. And it turned out that it was his time he spent contriving the scales that allow him to flow later on spontaneously. Perhaps that is one of the reasons why we practice mindfulness and we practice meditation in harmony with the natural processes in our body, in harmony with our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. We do this twice a day, every day. My Tibetan teachers basically had the habit of dividing the day in half. Everything fit into one of two categories: things that took place during a meditation session or things that took place between meditation sessions. And it's been said that what we do during our meditation session has a profound effect on everything that happens between our meditation sessions. And I don't mean this like in a manifesting way. I don't mean like this like in a controlling way, but our ability to enter the flow state and remain in the flow state is directly proportional to the quality and frequency and consistency of our meditation training. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism and Taoism so that you wouldn't have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Now let's turn to this morning's primary text, the sadhana version of the Song of Enlightenment, which was written in the 6th century. The 6th century by Yong Zhishuan Zhui, translated into English later on by Red Pine, adapted and amplified by yours truly. Everything boils down to the Buddha's Eightfold Path, and we're going to touch on each fold of the Eightfold Path during this morning's practice. We start by reviewing wishing love, right view, and joyful zeal. The second, first, and sixth folds of the Eightfold Path. We do this with the following recitation of empathetic bodhicitta and enthusiastic refuge. This recitation is not a prayer to a real or imagined entity. We are simply using words not to guide our belief, but to guide our will, to guide our intention. So the first way we're going to do that is by using some very literal phrasing. So we're setting this phrasing to a triplet chant. And I'm going to take another moment for editing. Please bear with me. Let's chant together. May I liberate all beings from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging by relying on the Buddha's example, instructions, and students. These three nouns are so useful to the spiritual path that over the centuries they've earned the metaphoric nickname of the three wish-fulfilling jewels, somewhat like the legend of Aladdin's lamp. We're now going to repeat these ideas, but using more concise and figurative language. And we're going to set this to a bookend chant, which really is my go-to chant. Together. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. May I liberate all beings by relying on the three jewels. As children, the first bicycle we received most likely came with training wheels. And although they were clunky, they got the job done. Similarly, this morning's first meditation is also going to be ungainly. During each inhalation, let us apply vertical traction to our posture, pulling our head away from our tush. As silently and mentally we recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. During each exhalation, let's physically relax. As silently and mentally we recite the additional 12-syllable phrase, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. Welcome to this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together, let's chant. Take two. Do you not see apparently idle followers of the way? Not actively steady, not apparently busy, not actively getting rid of delusions, not actively looking for the truth. The true nature of their ignorance is the same as the loving, aware, and laid-back Buddha nature. Their illusory empty bodies or their Dhamma bodies of the mastery of awareness and release. I think I made a mistake. Let's fix that. Whoops. Okay. Okay, here we go. Their true nature of their ignorance. Take three. The true nature of their ignorance is the same as their aware, laid back, and loving Buddha nature. Their illusory empty bodies or their Dharma bodies of the mastery of awareness and release. Their Dhamma body they realize does not include a graspable thing. Their original nature is the primordial Buddha's mastery of awareness and release. It is as if the five skandhas of feeling, intensity, impulse, and awareness were as non-graspable as clouds floating aimless in the sky. The three poisons of hating, craving, and clinging like mere bubbles appearing then gone. Seeing what is real but not as graspable persons all things, they instantly quench the fires of hell. Meanwhile, those who deceive others with lies denigrating Buddha's quick path spend kalpas having their tongues torn out. Instant understanding is thus come one tathagata meditation. Every practice and perfection is present in your body. This sixth path of existence look real in a dream. Once you're awake, the whole grasp of the universe is gone. No punishments or blessings, nothing lost or gained. As for the heart of nirvana, do not ask for directions. Regarding that unpolished, discovered mirror, it is time you took a closer look at the preconceptions of the minions of Yang. Who has no thoughts, who is not born? What truly is not born is not born. Ask a tailor's mannequin made of wood. How is that quest for Buddhahood coming? Now let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels, reducing our contemplative exercise from 12 syllables a breath down to just 3. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Notice this," and during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite, "Relaxing." Together. Let go your grip on the material world. In the heart of nirvana, eat and drink your fill, free from the tyranny of chasing and fleeing. Practices are ephemeral. Everything experienced during a relaxing exhalation could feel as if it is empty. This is the path of the perfect enlightenment of the Buddhas. Speaking with conviction is the sign of a true monk, thus unable to indulge in asking questions. Severing roots is what marks a Buddha. Picking through the leaves and twigs of mastering minutia is not for me. People do not notice the jewel among jewels, waiting for them in the Buddha nature's Tathagata Garba. Its sixfold power is neither empty nor not. It's perfect like neither visible nor not. Purify the five roots and acquire the five abilities. Only then will you know what cannot be measured. Together. Purify the five roots of hating, craving, confusion, competition, competing, and clinging. And acquire the five abilities of the wisdoms that are mirror like discerning, basic, all accomplishing, equalizing. Only then will you know what cannot be measured. So we purify the... So how does this work? Simple. We notice these as we breathe in, and as we relax, they automatically transform into these 5 wisdoms. An image in a mirror is not hard to see, but hard to cross the moon and the water. Setting out alone, walking alone, those who arrive take the Nirvana road. Their appearance ancient, their manner detached, ragged and gaunt, they are not noticed. Disciples without means, they are called poor, poor in possessions but not in freedom. Being poor, of course, they wear. Their practice is treasuring the jewel within. Now let us remove the second of 2 metaphoric training wheels, reducing our contemplative exercises from 3 syllables per breath down to just 1. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and during our exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. So if you've just joined, welcome aboard. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. So here's a quick review. Every time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord. This is not wired for active concentration, but instead for awareness that is vulnerable and passive and visceral and random. On the other hand, every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we access the parasympathetic nervous system, also ensconced within the spinal cord, this time in the lower lumbar region and the tippy top of the cervical region. And it's wired for both physical relaxation as well as mental release. The great irony of mindfulness and meditation is this: we don't need to employ the 3-pound supercomputer between our ears. We're just working with the autonomic nervous system in our spinal cord. What do we do then with our big old brain to keep it occupied so it doesn't muck things up? By giving our brain something to recite, like this and ease, and our brain gets to cooperate with allowing these exercises to work by allowing our intention to be in harmony with our factory installed wiring. Sometimes we notice perceptions, other times we notice emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, imaginings, or recollections. Sometimes we experience things that are external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. Regardless of what comes up, we persist with the basic exercise. Together. The process rule of noticing and releasing with inexhaustible uses. It never withholds a helpful response. The three bodies and four insides are present within. The 8 freedoms and 6 powers all mark the mind. Gifted people embrace it all concerning the way at once. Lesser minds hero but are not enthusiastic. Thinking about the superficialities of changing their clothes, they claim they are making progress. Let people market others, speak out a Buddha's quick path. Let them tire themselves while trying to burn the sky. Hearing the words is like tasting sweet dew. I swallow and suddenly enter the inconceivable. This is an important adjunct. So we're wired to notice and release in harmony with our inhalation and our exhalation. Sometimes we get walloped and we experience profound resistance to our circumstance or our body or to the circumstantial or the physical or the interpersonal or the mental. When that happens, we don't try to manipulate the circumstance, but we can transcend our resistance as we breathe in, once again by noticing, but by swallowing in harmony with our exhalation, it can give ourselves a little oomph to better let go. In hateful words I see a chance for merit. They have become my closest advisors. Not letting ridicule make enemies of friends. I show the power of accepting that nothing is worn. Not believing, but accepting, which is what happens when we physically relax in harmony with our exhalation. Know the words and know there's also not over focus on the emptiness of wisdom's light of perception and cessation. This is not something I alone have learned. Countless Buddhas have realized this too. The lion roars and speaks without fear. Lesser beasts hear and cower in fright. Wild elephants see so rampaging ways. Sky dragons listen in silent rapture. Now that we're up to cruising speed, our cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as General Leia Organa upon Ajahn Kloss under the guidance of Luke Skywalker. I traveled great rivers, crossed mountains and streams, seeking teachers and masters to better understand meditation. Ever since taking the Cow River Road, I have discovered life and death have no hold on me. Walking is meditation, sitting is meditation, speaking or silent, moving or still I am at peace. Even at knife point I remain unmoved, even poisons cannot affect me. Before my teacher, the Buddha Matipankara, he spent kalpas as Chanti the ascetic. How many births, how many deaths, births and deaths go on and on, go on with, and since I suddenly realize that nothing is born, I treat fame and shame the same. I moved to a mountain and found a quiet place, deep and secluded beneath tall pines. An outsider monk I enjoy sitting still, settled at last I am truly at peace. So this outsider monk is not interested in ritual or asceticism. Happy to sit and make that his solitary practice. Those who are awake do not engage in manipulatively giving gifts. In a world of conditioned things, however, it is different. Giving also a good birth, rebirth, one is still attached to form. You may as well shoot an arrow into the sky. Its momentum spent an arrow falls back to earth, resulting in another disappointing life. Unlike inhalations, awareness and exhalations release the door to the real and unconditioned. Once you step through, you are in the Buddha realm. So the Buddha realm here is metaphoric. And it doesn't mean that bees no longer sting and the ice is no longer slippery. It simply means that we have mastered the Buddha's path of coping with whatever comes up, feeling the full spectrum of human emotions, yet transcending our resistance to them. Ignore the twigs and look for the root, the jewel of the moon in pure aquamarine. Once you grasp this wish-fulfilling pearl of inhalations, awareness and exhalations release. It's up to you and others never ends. Moon on the river, wind in the pines. Why is the sky so clear all night? The pearl of the Buddha, nature, precepts of inhalations, awareness and exhalations release. Mark the mind, mist and clouds for the body. We see interdependence all about us. We see the reflection of the moon on the river. We feel the wind and notice that it clears the sky of clouds. Similarly, we give ourselves permission to notice as we breathe in and relax as we breathe out in harmony with interdependence, not in opposition to it. My greedy dragons of New England and my hateful tiger calming staff, with his two rings echoing on the trail. It is not for pointing out the mundane, but for pointing out the tracks left by the Tathagata's precious staff of nonviolence. Do not search for the truth and do not dismiss delusion. Realize both are empty and have no form. No form but neither empty nor not empty. That is the Tathagata's real form. So we transcend the duality of truth and delusion through awareness and release. Nothing obstructs the mirror of the mind, illuminating a universe of countless realms, where millions of images appear, neither inside nor outside the perfect light. Saying everything is empty, they dismiss the laws of karma. Such recklessness of relying on fear rather than love is sure to bring misfortune. Renouncing existence for emptiness is the same as jumping into a fire to escape a flood. I was recently shown a large temple, a large Buddhist temple, and I was told it cost approximately $65 million to build. I might have recalled the numbers inaccurately, which is on me. I have poor memory. But I find that heartbreaking. For while it can be good for people to meet together, $65 million can feed a lot of hungry and house a lot of homeless. Some things are good, some things are better, some things are best. Let us be governed by wisdom and love in all things. When we read the Buddha's Eightfold Path, we see that loving kindness comprise 50% of the path. There is no place on the Eightfold Path for worship or tradition or culture. When people wink at the needs of other humans so they can bow literally before a Buddha statue or metaphorically before culture and tradition, they have lost the path. Looking back at my past, I know what it's like to be a fool. I know what it's like to put those things before people to my great folly. And I wish for everyone that they be wiser than me and that they do not have to go through the ordeal of reinventing the wheel. Better to learn from my folly than to replicate it yourself. Letting delusions go and grasping the truth. The letting go grasping mind is a master of disguise. Students unaware who take this for the practice mistake a child for the thief. Mistake a thief for their child. Mistake as a thief for their child, forgetting that grasping at the truth is still grasping. Reducing your Dhamma wealth or cancelling your merit invariably results from discriminations of the mind. And that is why in meditation we set the mind aside. We use the power instead of accepting that nothing is born. The great Bodhisattva Manjushri holding the figurative sword of wisdom, with its wisdom prashna blade and indestructible diamond like Vajra flames. Not only did he cut through the mind of heretics, he first ended martyrs' brazen ways. He shook his Dharma thunder and beat his Dharma drum. He spread clouds of compassion and showers of sweet dew. The trumpeting of elephants covered the world with moisture. Whatever their path or lineage, everyone woke up despite the elitism of sectarianism. Naturally occurring Himalayan butter with nothing added. It alone produces my favorite ghee. The nature that pervades all natures. The dharma that includes all dharmas. A single moon is reflected in every drop of water. Within every water drop is held a single moon. Every Buddha's Dharma body is my nature. My nature is one with every Tathagata. This is not something to be believed. This is not something to be proved. This is something we experience every time we notice vulnerably in harmony with our inhalation and exhale relaxingly, or relax in harmony with our exhalation. At every stage, all stages are present, but not in form or mind and not in what you do. Snap your fingers and countless Dharma doors appear. 3 kalpas go by in an instant. As for all statements, make no statements. That means nothing to this enlightened nature of mind. Let us exercise the courage of letting go of the so-called profound. It cannot be slandered, and since it cannot be praised, like space it has no boundaries. It is never not present and always clear, but actively looking you cannot see it. You cannot grab it and you cannot actively let it go. When you cannot find it, that is when you will find it. It speaks when it is silent when it speaks. When the gate of gifts opens, nothing stands in its way. People ask what is the source of my understanding, I tell them the power of the great wisdom that comes from inhalation's awareness and exhalation's release. If it is right or wrong, nobody knows. If it makes sense or not, even the gods cannot tell. I have been practicing this for kalpas, and not just to make people confused. The practice is the destination. Flying the Dharma flag, announcing the school's doctrine. Clearly the Buddhist teachings is at Shaoxi. Kashyapa was the first to transmit the lab, the first of 28 generations in the West. The Dharma traveled east and reached this land. Bodhidharma was our first patriarch. The first of six who wear the robe and spread the word. Those who understood later were countless. We do not have found the truth. Delusions are already empty. Wow, what happened there? My goodness. We define what is and what is not, but we do not empty emptiness. It's 20 different kinds of no concern of ours. We share the universal Tathagata nature. The mind is a sense organ and objects are its sensations. Think of them as streaks on a mirror, and light finally shining when the streaks are gone. Forget the mind and objects, it is your nature that is real. It is an evolution, the Dharma is ending. People are not helping in lack self-control. Ignoring this age, they profess mistaken views. Mata becomes stronger as the hatred multiplies. Hearing about the Buddha's hidden teaching, they wish they could grant it into rumble. When needlessly archer with path of mind creates the body, suffers or injures. No need to claim injustice or shift the blame. If you are hoping to avoid karma's endless fires, do not forsake the Tathagata's true teaching of inhalations, awareness, and exhalations release. My goodness, okay. In a forest of nothing but sandalwood trees, where it is lush and remote lions dwell. In the sylvan wood, a quiet they roam where they will. Other beasts even birds keep their distance. Lion cubs all trail behind. By the time they are three, they can roar. Foxes who follow the Dharma king, after lifetimes of mischief they can only yap. The sudden teaching is free of sentimentality's elitism. As long as doubts remain, arguments follow. This mountain monk is not just banging his drum. He cares you might fall into the nothing of forever trap of relying exclusively on awareness or release. No but not no, yes but not yes. To miss by an inch is the same as 1,000 miles. Yes, and a dragon maiden certainly became a Buddha. No one soon Nakshatra fell into hell alive. I learned a lot when I was young. I read sutras and shastras and studied commentaries. The names and terms never seem to end. Like counting grains of sand in the sea, it was such a waste of effort. Scolded by the Tathagata, what good is counting others' treasures? I realized all my efforts had been in vain, all the years I had wasted braving dust and wind. Misguided from the start, my understanding wrong. Good morning, space. Misguided from the start, my understanding wrong. I did not know how the Buddha's sudden teaching worked. Why devotees of lesser past did not see the way. Why unbelievers may be clever but not wise. They are so foolish, so stupid, pointing to the palm to explain what is real. Mistaking a finger for the moon as they take figurative statements as literal. Turning objects of the senses into ghost stories as they forsake awareness and can cling to release. Who does not see a thing as truly graspable as a Tathagata, hence the name looking from on high. Those who understand are free of karmic burdens, those who do not still have all debts to pay. A hunger that keeps them from being satisfied by even a royal meal, a sickness not even a great physician can cure. To meditate despite the presence of desire is the power of prajna, and why a lotus is not burnt in the fire. So it's not our desires that prevent us from meditating. We can use whatever we experience, desires and dreads alike, can be used to fuel our meditation. Yongchi committed crimes and realized nothing is born. He became a Buddha and is still one today. When the lion roars his fearless teaching, it pities confused, obstinate fools who only see offenses that prevent Buddhahood. Blind to the secret the Tathagata revealed of the efficacy of awareness and release. 2 monks were guilty of crimes, so Gyatso Pali with his firefly light. Layman Vimalakati dismissed third house as the sun melts the snow. Inconceivable is the power of liberation. Its uses as countless as the Ganges sands. Who would not give every possible offering, such as 10,000 ounces of gold? But even if one's flesh and blood would fall short, but even one's flesh and blood would fall short, the unsurpassed king of all dharmas, realized by more Buddhas than Ganges has grains of sand. The wish fulfilling jewel I have revealed, may all who accept it do the same. Look around, there is not a thing to be permanently grasped. There are no people, there are no Buddhas. All the worlds in the universe are like bubbles in the sea. All the sages and worthies are as fleeting as mere lightning. Even if an iron scroll rolled across my skull, meditation's wisdom light would still shine. Though the sun turned cold and the moon turned warm, not even an army of demons can destroy the truth. When an elephant pulls are caught up a mountain, has anyone seen a mantis block its way? Elephants do not follow rabbit trails. Enlightenment is not confined by minor rules. Do not vilify the sky when you are looking at it through a reed. If you still do not understand, this is for you. Let us bring the third, fourth, and fifth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path into remembrance as together we chant. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and commerce flow spontaneous and uncontrived. Let us conclude by bringing the first and second folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path to mind. May everyone be free from misery, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness, may everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 2/3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.